Hello and welcome to Total Health with Dr. Nick, where my purpose is to inspire, empower, and motivate you to live longer, healthier, and more abundant lives. And today's topic, I've got a red hot one because this one right here, this one is absolutely life-threatening, and you don't get a hold of this and make sure that you do not have fatty liver. Okay, so fatty liver, this video is all about the cause and then the solution. So you want to make sure you watch to the very end, and I mean it. I really mean it. Trust me on this, because I'm going to give you the solution at the end to this disease that you might have that you're not even aware of. This one right now is becoming an epidemic because of the fact that we have so many people right now that are diabetic or pre-diabetic, that are overweight, obese, and things like that. So if you're any of those, you better watch to the very end, where I'm going to be going over what's causing it and what the solution is. So you may be surprised. Anyway, this right here, fatty liver, can cause cirrhosis. It can cause you to have to get a transplant if you lose your liver, and it can even cause cancer. So once again, like I said, watch to the very end. And if you like what we're talking about, make sure you like, you share, you comment, and subscribe, and show this video to someone you know that you believe could have fatty liver. Anyway, let's dive on in right now. So first of all, let's go over the functions of the liver. Well, the liver has more functions than I can even go over in this video. It would probably be a 3-4 hour video. So we're just going to hit some of the top ones. Well, things like this: it produces bile, and bile is what your body needs to help emulsify fat. So think of detergent, your laundry detergent. When you put it in, it breaks up all the oil and the dirt and grime into little particles, and the little particles can then be cleaned and get out of your clothes a whole lot easier. So this helps to break up fat so that way you can digest it better. It detoxifies the body. Things like alcohol, poisons, toxins, all have to go through the liver. So this thing is working around the clock, and the liver can easily be the most important organ, if not one of the top two. I know you're thinking probably the brain and the heart, and those are good guesses also. This is definitely one of the top three. Produces cholesterol. That one's a huge one right there. 80% of your body's cholesterol is actually made by the liver, so it's not coming in through your diet. So even though your doctors are telling you to get on a low-fat, low-cholesterol diet, that's not going to matter very much, because your liver knows exactly how much cholesterol your body needs every single day to produce hormones and other vital compounds that your body needs. 25% of the cholesterol in your body is actually in your brain, so you want to make sure that you are getting plenty of it. Converts fatty acids to ketones, and if you're on a ketogenic diet, which so many of my viewers and subscribers are, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It takes the fats that you take in and then converts them into ketone bodies that your body can then easily use for fuel, to fuel your muscles, to fuel your mitochondria, or even to fuel your brain. It stores glycogen, fats, vitamins, and minerals. So when your body takes in sugar and you're not going to be using it at that moment, it converts it into glycogen, which is the stored form of glucose for future use. So if you need it later on, it takes it out of the liver, takes it out of the muscles, and it puts it back into your bloodstream. So this stores the fat, stores the glucose in the form of glycogen, stores minerals and vitamins. So very, very important. Now, what is fatty liver disease? Well, it turns out that 20 to 40% of Americans, and I'm sure the numbers are just as high around the world, will have fatty liver disease. So that's what I'm saying. This is becoming an epidemic. If you're overweight or obese or have diabetes or prediabetes, that's you. It's in that 20 to 40% right there. What do the symptoms include? Well, fatigue, weakness, loss of appetite. Sounds a lot like the symptoms of diabetes. Nausea, jaundice, mental confusion, swelling in the abdomen, especially in the right upper quadrant where the liver is. So if you have swelling up in this area, it's a good chance you have fatty liver. Buildup of swelling in the legs, and abdominal pain in the right upper quadrant of the abdomen. So once again, if you're suffering with any of these problems, any of these symptoms at all, there's a really good chance you have fatty liver. So you want to make sure you get it checked out. What types are there? Well, there's actually two main types. You have the alcoholic fatty liver disease and the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Obviously, one is caused by alcohol or consumption of alcohol, and one's not. So of the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, we also have something called NASH. And what NASH means is non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, and that is actually the worst of the two. So this one is the one that can actually cause a cirrhosis, and if left unchecked, according to the American Liver Foundation, can also increase your risk of liver cancer. So by far, NASH is the worst of the two, and if you count the alcoholic fatty liver disease, it's really the worst of the three of them. Now, there are different stages to fatty liver disease. So in the beginning stage, you start to see the non-alcoholic fatty liver. So you start to see some inflammation accumulating. You get increased fat in your liver. Now, your liver is going to have some fat in it anyway, but once it gets over about 15%, now we start to become problematic. Now, when it gets into that 15%, you're going to start to see this lipid aggregation. You're going to start to see lipid accumulating, a lot more fat in the liver than it's used to. Next, once that inflammation really sets in, now we get into NASH. And when we get into NASH, now we're going to start to see scar tissue formation. And when we start to see a lot of scar tissue formation, we're going to start to see a lot of nodules. And when those nodules start to form, now you're getting into the cirrhosis aspect. Once you get into cirrhosis, it's pretty much too far gone. You're either going to do one of two things. You're going to get a transplant, and hopefully you'll get on that list and be high up on the list. Otherwise, you're going to be in severe trouble. Or you're going to end up with just outright liver cancer, where you're looking at hepatocellular carcinoma, so cancer cells of the liver. So that is, of course, really, really bad news. Never want to be there. So what are some of the causes? Well, obviously, if we're looking at alcoholic fatty liver disease, consuming alcohol. So large amounts of alcohol, or pretty much any amount of alcohol. Remember this. I don't care if you're a social drinker, just once in a while, maybe a drink a night, your liver has to detoxify that. Your liver has to take your alcohol consumption and make it priority one. So it pretty much stops everything else to be able to digest, assimilate, and really get this toxin out of your system. Now, the other one is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is NAFLD, and then, of course, NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Those are really caused by being overweight or obese. So like I said before, if you're overweight or obese, you are a prime candidate for this. Insulin resistance, and once again, I've talked about this on previous videos. I did one on insulin resistance. When you start to eat a lot of the foods we eat, the standard American diet, you're going to start to develop insulin resistance, and not to mention because of so many toxins we have in our environment, whether it be chemicals, plastics, xenotoxins, estrogen inhibitors, estrogen mimicking hormones, things like that. All these different toxins, which a lot of the plastics can do, these are just really bad news for us. High blood sugar, once again, if you're diabetic, you're going to have high blood sugar, and it's also going to lead to insulin resistance and high levels of triglycerides. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, because triglycerides are a key factor with fatty liver disease. So, what we see is this, obesity, and I've talked about this on a previous video also, obesity starts to create a lot of visceral fat, and visceral fat is now organ fat. So when you see someone who's obese, okay, you start to see a lot of fat accumulation, not on the outside, not on the thighs so much, not so much on your butt, but under the skin. And a lot of times you see these, I call them these good old boys down here in Georgia, they got these big old guts, and they're proud of them. They're saying, hey, look, feel my gut, you can't press in, this is solid rock. And sure, on the outside, you can't pinch much, but the fat's on the inside. The fat is under the skin. So yeah, surface fat, you're not feeling much of. In fact, you maybe couldn't pinch an inch, as we say. But under it, that's where you have that visceral fat, and that's the fat that surrounds the organs, and that's the fat that's going to start to accumulate in the liver. Now, I'm going to tell you this. In some cultures, fatty liver is a delicacy. In some cultures, there's something called foie gras. And that is a delicacy, especially in France, where it's duck liver or goose liver, to where they fatten it up. And I'm going to tell you in a little bit what they give it to fatten it up. Then that is a delicacy. I've never had it, but I've heard it's very, very good. And of course, it's prized. I mean, people just pay top dollar for this, for a fattened up liver of a duck or a goose. So that's the same concept, except we're doing it to ourselves. The farmers are doing it to try to get the goose and the duck to be like that. We're doing it just because we're not even knowing what we're doing. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So once again, you watch to the end. So first thing we have to do is stop burdening the liver. The liver's got a lot of work to do. Like I said, it's got more functions than you can possibly imagine. So you have to stop burdening it with extra things to do. Like one, Alcohol. Stop giving it so much alcohol where it's got to detoxify. Like I said before, alcohol is priority one for the liver. If you're taking in alcohol, it stops doing everything else. And if you're trying to lose weight and wondering why you're hitting plateaus, look at your alcohol consumption. And I'll tell you, I did a video on this also where I talked about which alcohols were kind of okay for diets, especially the keto diet, but really none of them are. I know some of them are low calorie and low carb and all that stuff. Your clear alcohols, I get that. But here's the problem. Alcohol is alcohol, and it's a toxin to the body. And anytime you take in alcohol, your body has to try to detoxify it, and it stops all production. It stops all production of cholesterol. It stops all production of producing fatty acids. It stops all, everything basically else I talked about earlier. Table sugar, another huge one. Table sugar is made up of two molecules. It is made up of glucose and fructose. Fructose is fruit sugar. You know that. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, well, but God made fruit. God made fructose. It's okay. And our bodies are designed to handle a little bit of fructose. But the problem is we eat so much of it. If you're drinking orange juice and you drink a big glass of orange juice like this, you're probably drinking 5, 6, 7 oranges. Who can eat that? You're not going to eat 6, 7 oranges because you're getting in the juice with the fiber. So at least you're buffering that sugar a little bit. If you're just drinking straight up juice, you're drinking straight sugar water. Now, like I said, that is one molecule of fructose or one molecule of glucose come together to make up table sugar, white sugar. Now, the glucose can go right into your cells, and that spikes your blood sugar on its own, which is not a good thing either. But your liver has to process the fructose, so now it goes in there. Now, if your body has enough stored glucose, remember I said it stores it as glycogen. Here's the key thing. Really pay close attention to this. If your body has enough stored glucose, and it stores it in the liver and it stores it in the muscle, this overflow now has to get stored too. And what is it going to get stored at? Fat. Exactly. So any excess sugar you're taking in going, oh, no, I'm not drinking fat. I'm drinking my orange juice. If you're taking in this excess sugar, that excess sugar, if it's not stored as glycogen, and if it's not stored as muscle glycogen for the muscle, or in your liver, it's going to get converted to fat as triglycerides. And triglycerides, as I mentioned, are one of the big causes of fatty liver disease, okay? So, table sugar, big no-no. Grains, big no-no. Once again, anything that you're eating that's causing inflammation to the body. We've talked about this many times on previous videos. Carbohydrates are not an essential nutrient. Your body can make it. Grains really don't offer us a lot of nutritional value. It causes a lot of problems because when your body takes grains and breaks them down, it breaks it down into sugar. That's what carbohydrates are. Carbohydrates are big and small sugar molecules. So if you look at a potato, that's a big sugar molecule. But guess what? In order for your body to absorb it, it breaks it down into a single little sugar molecule. All right? So big carbs, which are a lot of big carbohydrates, which are carbon and hydrogen. That's what it's really made of. So if you want to get a little chemistry lesson, carbohydrates are carbon and hydrogen. Pretty simple. So big long chains of carbons make up potatoes, make up your starchy foods. Smaller carbon chains make up your sugars. That's why they're sweeter. So grains of any kind aren't going to be good, especially wheat, where it's been cross-hybridized so many times. High fructose corn syrup, definitely not good, and we know we get that from grain. We get it from corn. So corn, not a great choice because of the high fructose corn syrup. Now, I know you're going to say, but wait a minute. High fructose corn syrup is really more refined, and I get that. Absolutely, you're right. But still has the fructose in it. Vegetable oils and the seed oils, I'll tell you, that's a big one right there because you think your vegetable oils, by the way, they're not made from vegetables, they're made from seeds. And they're industrialized. These are highly refined oils with detergents and chemicals that they actually have to extract with high heat. The oils from these nuts, they have to bleach it. They change the color, they change the smell, they change the texture to make it palatable. These are really bad news. These are your bad man-made fats. You want to avoid that. You want to use things like tallow and lard. You want to have foods like coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, avocados, nuts, almonds, walnuts, things like that. Lots of better fats than these industrialized oils. Medications also too. Do you know that one of the top causes of liver failure, acute liver failure, is Tylenol? 16,000 deaths per year happen because of Tylenol poisoning. It is the single largest factor and cause of acute liver failure is Tylenol. So medications are a toxin to the body, and your liver's trying to process that. So if your liver's trying to give your body energy and produce bile and produce ketones and all the things your body needs, and you keep putting drugs and chemicals and bogging it down with alcohol and things like that, it can't do its job. Toxins in general, once again, I talked about plastics, environmental toxins, toxins in our food. There's over 8,000 different chemicals in our food and about 80,000 different chemicals in our environment and our food. I mean, it's just major amounts of toxins. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you're controlling diabetes. I said before, diabetes is a major factor in this. In fact, if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic or overweight or obese, your risk of, fatty liver disease is huge, So what can we do then to make our liver happy? Well, of course, there's lots of great things we could do. We can, one, get on a keto diet. That's probably one of the best things you could do. Why? Because you're getting in lots of great healthy fats. You're not using carbs for fuel. Carbs burn very poorly. They're very dirty. They actually burn and produce a lot of free radicals. And a lot of the carbs that we're getting in are also omega-6 carbs. A lot of the grains, they're all omega-6, and those are the bad oils. You don't want those so much. Now, do we have omega-6 in our bodies? Yes. Do we need omega-6? Yes, absolutely. We just don't need it in a ratio that we get it. So by using the keto diet, for example, or the Mediterranean diet, or even the paleo diet, these are all great diets that have a lot of healthy, high-quality fats. And I know a lot have heard of me say, I'm not a big fan of just so much cheese and so much bacon. I don't have a problem with them. In fact, if it's humanely raised, grub-fed and grass-fed pork, I have no problem with that. ButcherBox, one of our sponsors, is fabulous for that. And if you want to take a look at some of their products, check the link down below. I'll put a link in the description. Things like cheeses. If you're eating grass-fed cheese where it's grass-fed, grass-finished, non-pasteurized, much, much better for you. So I have no problem with that. So the keto diet is fantastic. With all those healthy fats, especially omega-3 fats, they're very anti-inflammatory, and your body does extremely, extremely well on this. It's also great for brain function, but your liver will run a lot better on the keto diet than it does the standard American diet or even a high-carb diet. Healthy fats, I was just talking about that. So once again, your avocado oil, your olive oil, things like avocados, walnuts, almonds, coconut oil, coconuts, coconut milk, coconut cream, all these different quality healthy fats, beef tallow, lard, ghee, all these different healthy fats are absolutely fantastic. Vegetables. Your liver loves vegetables. Eat plenty of vegetables, especially your leafy green vegetables. Your leafy green ones are especially helpful and beneficial to liver. More minerals, more nutrients, more vitamins, just absolutely loaded with chlorophyll, which helps with detoxification. As I talked about before, your omega-3 fats. Now, your omega-3 fats, chia seed, flaxseed, great sources of omega-3 fats. So dive into those. Green tea. I did a whole video about 2-3 videos ago on matcha green tea. Go back and watch that one. Fantastic for detoxification. Lots of chlorophyll. Helps with liver function. Turmeric, all right, great one for anti-cancer. But turmeric curcumin is fantastic at actually helping the liver. Vitamin D3, E, and C. Okay, lots of fat-soluble vitamins there. Vitamin C is not a fat-soluble vitamin, but vitamin D3 and E are also. You make sure you get those in your diet. They're also very good at supporting the liver and its function. Garlic and ginger, once again, just great for that. Great for liver support, great for liver function, help your body detox, antifungal, antibacterial properties, just absolutely fantastic. So anyway, I hope this is great information for you. I hope this hit a nerve right over here, okay, right in your heart, and you said to yourself, I need to do something about this, because there's a really good chance if I'm struggling with diabetes, prediabetes, obesity, if I drink too much alcohol, if you're obese, things like that, okay, don't beat yourself up about it. You can reverse this. You can absolutely reverse fatty liver disease. You can do it. Just Give your body a chance. It's not a death sentence. You can turn it around. You can turn this ship around and not end up with cirrhosis, not end up with cancer, not end up on the transplant list. So please, if this is information that you know someone else can benefit by, the greatest thing is when you can actually share something that will actually save, change, or transform the life of someone else, and you don't even have to risk your own. You just share with them, and what a great thing that is. So please, if you like the information, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click that little bell notification so that way you get notified every time I make a video so you don't miss a single one of them. So anyway, this is Dr. Nick. I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much once again for being a supporter of my channel, and I will see you on the next video. God bless. Bye-bye.